Okay, namaste, tashile, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're coming from. So thank you all for joining us for this one-day long life retreat for primarily for our gurus, but for all sentient beings. So in this session, we're going to start off with the method to transform a suffering life into happiness. So I hope you've all downloaded that, as well as the Lama Tsongkhapa text. And then the actual Lama Tsongkhapa long life practice we'll only do from the next session. And so that has been uploaded on archive, but it takes a little while to for the server to update. Okay? So first, please open up your method to transform a suffering life into happiness. Okay. And we'll start on page 17 of that. So it's the mantra for blessing the mala and to increase virtue. We'll do that, and then we'll go back and do the rest. Om Ruchira Mani Pravataya Om, 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 Om Ruchira Mani Pravataya Om. Om Sambara Sambara Bimana Sarama Java Om, Om Smara Smara Bimana Sarama Java Om. Om Zumbara Zumbara Bimana Zarama Java Om, 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 Zumbara Zumbara Bimana Zarama Java Om Smara Smara Bimana Sarma Java Om Smara Smara Bimana Sarma Java Om Smara Smara Bimana Sarma Java. Okay, so now go back to the beginning. So it's on page 5. So then just in the small print there, at the beginning of each day after you open your eyes until enlightenment is achieved and until death, and especially today. So all the activities of your body, speech, mind, hearing, thinking, and meditating, as well as walking, sitting, and sleeping, doing your job, and so on, do not become causes of suffering and become causes of happiness, and especially that they become the causes to achieve Buddhahood. Here is a method for transforming the mind into holy Dharma, and especially into bodhicitta. So again, please, as we recite this, then try to meditate on the meaning as best you can. Essence encompassing all the Buddhas, originator of all the holy Dharma, scriptures, and realization, principle of all the horizons and virtue, the glorious holy Buddhas take refuge. Please, Gurus, bless my mind to become Dharma, Dharma to become the path, and the path to be without obstacles. Until I achieve Buddhahood, please bless me to be like beautiful Mozart and Bodhisattva always crying, incorrectly following the virtuous friend, with pure thought and action, seeing whatever is done as pure, and accomplishing whatever is said and advised. Please bless me to see that this great and meaningful body, with freedoms and richnesses, is difficult to find and easily perishes. The action is also so profound, and that the sufferings of the evil God transmigratory beings are so difficult to bear. Therefore, please bless me to take refuge in the depths of my heart, in the three ranks of light ones, to abandon negative karma, and to accomplish virtue according to the Dharma. In dependence upon that, even if I achieve the mere higher rebirth of a deva or human, I will still have to experience suffering endlessly in samsara, because not having abandoned and being under the control of the disturbing thought obscurations. Therefore, please bless me to reflect well upon the way of circling in samsara and to continuously follow day and night the path of the three types of precious trainings, the principal method for becoming free from samsara. It depends upon that, even if I achieve mere liberation, since there is no sentient being of the six types who has not been my father and mother. Please bless me to think I must fulfill their purpose and turn away from the lower happiness of nirvana. Then please bless me to generate precious bodhicitta by equalizing and exchanging myself with others, and to follow the conduct of the Conqueror's sons, the six paramitas, and so forth. Having trained my mind in the common path in that way, I will not be upset even if I have to experience the sufferings of samsara for a long time. However, please bless me to look at sentient beings with extraordinary unbearable compassion and to enter the quick path of the Vajrayana teachings. Then, please bless me to protect my vows and samayas more than my life and to quickly accomplish the unified Vajradhara state in one brief lifetime of this degenerate time. May I not give rise to heresy for even a second in regard to the actions of the glorious Guru. May I see whatever actions are done as pure. With this devotion, may I receive the Guru's blessings in my heart. Magnificent and precious Root Guru, please abide on the lotus seat of my heart, guide me with your great kindness, and grant me the realizations of your holy body, speech, and mind. Now do the meditation of the Guru entering your heart. Thinking that your mind and your Guru's mind Okay, continuing on with the 8 verses of thought transformation. Determined to obtain the greatest possible benefit from all sentient beings who are more precious than a wish-fulfilling rule, I shall hold them most dear at all times. May I become like a wish-granting jewel, fulfilling all the wishes, and like a wish-granting tree, fulfilling all the hopes of transmigratory beings. For the sake of accomplishing the two purposes of all sentient beings, without any sense of loss or concern, I give away my body, and likewise my enjoyments, such as food and clothing, and even all my virtues accumulate over the 3 times. By abandoning attachment and giving everything away, I will pass beyond sorrow, and my mind will achieve the non-abiding sorrowless state, the state of omniscience, Since I'll have to give up everything all at once when I die, it's best for me to give it away to sentient beings, because Buddhahood is attained in that way. As I have already given this body, an impure aggregate, to all beings to use for their pleasure, even if they always kill me, criticize me, beat me, and so forth, I will let them do whatever they like. From now on, whether they play games with my body, or make it an object of laughter by ridiculing and making fun of it to hurt me, since I have already given this body of mine to sentient beings, why would I resist it by protecting it and so forth? I will also use it to do any virtuous actions that don't harm and benefit others. Whenever any sentient being encounters me, may it never be meaningless for them and always be meaningful. Whenever someone has an angry or devotional thought arise just by looking at me, may that attitude alone become a cause that always accomplishes all the temporary and ultimate purposes of that being. Whenever others criticize me with their speech, harm me with their bodies, or likewise insult me behind my back, may all of them have the fortune to achieve great enlightenment. May I be a savior for those who lack a savior, a guide for those who need the road, a boat, a ship, and a bridge for those who want to cross the water. May I be an island for those who seek the safe shore of an island, a light for those who want a light, bedding for those who wish for bedding, and for all beings who desire a servant. May I become a servant of them all. May I be a wish-granting jewel and a wish-fulfilling vase, giving rise to whatever is desired, such as food and clothing, powerful mantra, accomplishing actions of pacification, increase, and so forth, great medicine in curing every sickness, a wish-fulfilling tree satisfying every need, and a wish-granting cow for all beings, like the four great elements, the earth, and so forth, and like the sky, may I always be a means of living in every way for the innumerable sentient beings. Likewise, may I be a means of living at all times and in all ways for the realms of sentient beings, equaling the extent of space, until they all attain this farthest state. As long as space remains, as long as transmigratory beings remain, until then may I too remain, to dispel the suffering of transmigratory beings. So there it says, Gampopa, Milarepa's heart disciple, said, after waking from sleep and before you get out of bed, think, today I'm going to use my body, speech, and mind and virtue for sentient beings. It is so important to generate this precious thought of bodhicitta, the ultimate good heart. Then whatever you do that day is then done with bodhicitta. So everything becomes virtue and the cause of enlightenment. If your motivation is wrong, everything becomes negative karma and the cause of evil gone realms. Okay, so now blessing the speech. I take refuge in the three rare sublime ones. May I become a Buddha to benefit transmigratory beings. I take refuge in the three rare sublime ones. May I become a Buddha to benefit transmigratory beings. I take refuge in the three rare sublime ones. May I become a Buddha to benefit transmigratory beings. So first we purify the truly existent I in emptiness, as it is emptiness in reality. Then the wisdom, seeing emptiness, experiences great infinite bliss. And then that mind, which is experiencing bliss, non-dual with emptiness, then arises as the deity.
On my tongue, a syllable ah transforms into a moon disk. On top of it appears a white syllable om, surrounded by the white Sanskrit vowels standing clockwise, the red Sanskrit consonants standing counterclockwise, and the blue heart mantra of dependent relation standing clockwise. Light beams radiate from the om and the mantra garlands and hook back the blessing and power of both mundane and supermundane speech in the form of the three mantras, the seven sublime precious objects of a king's reign, and the 8 auspicious signs. Om a a soha. Om a soha. Om soha. Om Onye Dharma Hetu Bhagava Hetu Tishan Taga Gata Yavata Tishan Chaya Eva Eva Bhagava Soha. Onye Dharma Hetu Bhagava Hetu Tishan Taga Gata Yavata Tishan Chaya Eva Eva Soha. Onye Dhamma Hetu Bhagava Hetu Tishan Taga Yavata Tishan Chaya Eva Eva Soha. The heart mantra of dependent relation dissolves into the consonants into the vowels into the syllable om into the moon cushion. That transforms into the syllable ah. The ah melts into white red nectar and dissolves into my tongue, which becomes the nature of a vajra. So think especially that I have perfected my speech. All the blessings and powers of the speech of the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, sages, yogis, and so on have entered your speech, and your speech is perfected. Then the dedication prayer. May my tongue have all the courage of the ones gone to bliss. By the power of my glorious words, may all sentient beings be subdued. May all the meanings of whatever words I say be accomplished instantly. So then continuing on with the exalted stainless beam, totally pure light mantra. Nawa 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 Om Bori Sari Sari Mori Bori Sari Wari Soha. Nawa nawa Om Bori Sari Sari Mori Bori Sari Wari Soha. Nawa nawa Om Bori Sari Sari Mori Bori Sari Wari Soha. Nawa nawa Tinan Tadaga Divujuganan Putini Kasashana Om Bori Sari Sari Mori Bori Sari Wari Soha. Nawa nawa Tinan Tadaga Divujuganan Putini Kasashana Om Bori Sari Sari Mori Bori Sari Wari Soha. Nawa nawa Tinan Tadaga Om Bori Sari Sari Mori Bori Sari Wari Soha. Nawa nawa Tinan Om Bori Sari Sari Mori Bori Sari Soha. Om Shriya De Sarvatadagara Hridaya Rabe Zoladamadaga Sam Harana Ai Samshodaya Papam Sarvatadaga Samanja Ushika Vimale Vishdi Soha. Om Shriya De Sarvatadagara Hridaya Sangvala Harana Ai Samshodaya Papam Sarvatadaga Samanja Ushika Vimale Vishdi Soha. Om Shriya De Sarvatadagara Hridaya Garbe Zoladamadaga Garbe Sangharana Ayusang Shodaya Papam Savataka Gata Samanja Ushtika Vimani Vishvisoha Oshya De Savataka Gata Hidaya Garbe Surakamada Garbe Sangharana Ayusang Shodaya Papam Savataka Gata Samanja Ushtika Vimani Vishvisoha Oshya De Savataka Gata Hidaya Garbe Surakamada Sangharana Ayusang Shodaya Papam Savataka Gata Samanja Ushtika Vimani Vishvisoha Oshya De Savataka Gata Hidaya Garbe Surakamada Garbe Sangharana Ayusang Shodaya Papam Savataka Gata Samanja Ushtika Vimani Vishvisoha Oshya De Savataka Hidaya Garbe Surakamada Garbe Sangharana Ayusang Shodaya Papam Savataka Gata Samanja Ushtika Vimani Vishvisoha. Then the mantra, name and mantra that fulfills wishes. We'll just do 7 times. Deshin Sheba Deshin Sheba Sazin Gyabwa La Chasalo, Tayata Om Dare Dare Darani Bende Soha. Deshin Sheba Sazin Gyabwa La Chasalo, Tayata Om Dare Dare Darani Bende Soha. Deshin Sheba Sazin Gyabwa La Chasalo, Tayata Om Dare Dare Darani Bende Soha. Deshin Sheba Sazin Gyabwa La Chasalo, Tayata Om Dare Dare Darani Bende Soha. Deshin Sheba Sazin Gyabwa La Chasalo, Tayata Om Dare Dare Darani Bende Soha. Deshin Sheba Sazin Gyabwa La Chasalo, Tayata Om Dare Dare Darani Bende Soha. Deshin Sheba Sazin Gyabwa La Chasalo, Tayata Om Dare Dare Darani Bende Soha. Deshin Sheba Sazin Gyabwa La Chasalo, Tayata Om Dare Dare Darani Bende Soha. Okay, so that is what we should be doing every morning when we get up, at the very least. So those mantras, in case you aren't familiar with them, they're unbelievably beneficial. So especially that then anyone that we meet throughout our day, then after having recited those mantras, then even by seeing us, by hearing us, of course, touching us. I'm not sure how many people do it these days, but in any case, anyone who comes into contact with us, then it has the power to then purify even the 5 heavy negative karmas experienced without break. So it's like we become a stupa, we become a holy object for them. And then even if they, only have a small interaction with us, even if they don't know, then their negative karma is getting purified. So in that way, so much benefit that we offer to sentient beings. So it's very important to do that practice in the morning. Okay, so now we'll continue with the Lama Tsongkhapa. So I have just the Lama Tsongkhapa book. Some of you might have other editions, so try to follow along. But again, maybe some of you are coming late. And so let's just refresh our bodhicitta motivation, please thinking in this way, that the purpose of my life is to benefit all sentient beings, and in particular, in order that I may be able to benefit sentient beings in the best way, I myself must first achieve the state of enlightenment. Therefore, I need to purify my mind of all obscurations, negative karmas, and even the subtle imprints on my mind. And I also need to accumulate the vast accumulations of merit and transcendental wisdom. And therefore, I'm going to engage in this long life retreat for the holy gurus today. Especially since in order for me to achieve enlightenment, I need to learn about all the various practices. I need to be guided by my holy gurus. And therefore, also in order that all the negative karma within sentient beings' minds that would prevent them from being continuously guided by holy gurus teaching the unmistaken path to enlightenment. So all these karmic obscurations are purified, then we're doing this practice. And then also for all of the manifestations of the degenerate age, all the war, all the natural disasters, and especially all the sicknesses that exist in this world, and then all the other world systems of the 10 directions, so that these may be instantly pacified, and that all the sentient beings have only the most conducive conditions for practice, which of course includes access to the teachings, access to perfectly qualified gurus, as well as the more mundane, having the material resources, good health, long life, the conditions to practice. So in short, for all sentient beings to quickly achieve enlightenment, and even until they achieve enlightenment, even while still in samsara, for them never to experience anything undesirable and receive all the required conditions so they can make utmost progress along the spiritual path as quickly as possible, then we're going to engage in these practices today. Okay, so page 3 of the Lama Tsongkhapa. Rangkangye sentient
Madam Kanyam Again Sentient Energy
Jiki dundu dagi sendi nilan yuan de me sangye lama lahi gopa mundu jem. Sumjin damjin du gale drel dijin sangi gizala gubarja. De chidu lam sambo lama lahi galdun yomzu lam waki.
So now dissolve and absorb the refuge merit field and meditate on the three kayas. So those of you who don't know, then maybe just meditate on emptiness. The fact that all phenomena, they lack even an atom of inherent existence, but yet to the sense consciousness of us sentient beings, then things appear to be inherently existent, truly existent, but they don't exist in the way they appear, and therefore they're like an illusion, like a dream, like a mirage. So then those of you with the requisite initiation, then you can arise in the form of Yamataka or as any other high circle tantra deity. Orani ke jigi pel doji jigi shaji cha nigi jigi tanda hagyo. Dejevani Nila Mahala Ganezel We Gule Hoseto Ju Beno Jujin Lame Dabara Jamba Jigyun Tengi Bege Bagun Zopa Hagyo Om So now we're on LC 9, the generation of the merit field. So some of you might not be so familiar with the practice, so we'll generate the merit field in English so we can do the visualization more effectively. In the space of indivisible bliss and emptiness, amidst billowing clouds of Samantabhadra offerings, at the crest of a wish-granting tree, adorned with leaves, flowers, and fruit, is a precious lion throne, ablaze on which is a white lotus, sun, and full moon. On them sits my root guru, kind in three ways, in nature all Buddhas, in aspect a saffron-robed monk, with one face, 2 arms, and a radiant white smile. Right hand in the gesture of expounding the Dharma, left in meditative pose, holding an alms bowl full of nectar. You wear the 3 lustrous saffron robes, and your head is adorned by a golden pandit's hat. In your heart sits the all-pervading Lord, powerful Vajradhara, with one face, 2 arms, and a blue body, holding Vajra and bell, embracing Vajradhatu Ishwari, the queen of space, delighting in the play of simultaneous bliss and emptiness. They are adorned with jewel ornaments of many designs, and clothed in garments of heavenly silk, adorned with the marks and signs, radiant with countless light rays. You sit in the Vajra position, encircled by a 5-colored rainbow. Your pure aggregates are the 5 Sugatas. Your 4 elements are the 4 consorts. Your sources, channels, sinews, and joints are actual bodhisattvas. The hair pores of your The hairs of your pores are the 21,000 arhats, your limbs the wrathful protectors, the light rays, directional guardians and secret yakshas, while worldly gods are cushions for your feet. Surrounding you in their respective order sit the direct and lineage gurus, yidams, hosts of mandala deities, Buddhas, bodhisattvas, heroes, dakinis, encircled by an ocean of dharma protectors. The three vajras mark the three doors. From the letter hum, cooked light rays radiate, drawing forth the wisdom beings from their natural abode to become non-dual and set. So now the invocation. So if you have incense, you can light it. This will do in Tibetan chanting. Okay, so LC 18, starting the 7 limbs with prostration. Kagitu jeda
Wachem buyin kusunggo pancha gyangke chila Sote lama rinche tabuku Loje chen chabe mon chakselo Raja nyawa kungi yeshini Wandu chi yanja wedak kicho Yurmizim Parkagina Rova Kyagenda Vishala Chakselo Yedu Pacha Chepa Junjunji Vameyo Grenchen Sogite Gende Malu Juwe Gojibu Jezula Meshala Jazelo La Jedem Basange Kungigo Gejishi Tondan Jujuwe Wasa Kungi Huna La Ngewa Rinche Lama Nala Chakselo Dusen Che Chu Chu Be Lama Nam Rinchen Chasun Chagadan Shila Tse Ma Be De Yang Ya Tse Chen Shin De Ya Be Le Chu Chakselo
Kyagun Jetsu
Ma
Lama
Ko Che Lam Na So Chu Chin Gya So Bu Wadi Kulerin Che Le Ba De Ya Le Da Che Du Si Chu Ji Den Gi Ba Dom Bo Zil Man Tren Wa Ben Le Man Ze Me To Sa Lam Ba Nam Dom Pri Chun Be Gi De Ba Ben Yu Le Ya Ge Le Bo Jun Gi La Lan Dri Nida no Gura Badrun Menso Don Sum Selen Zen Fegagu Ragu Zen Den Gurgun Dridube Leju So Chen Koryu Kunegil Forget you then Sachadu Wadam La Mi Jelzelum Bogum Nasuru Mujeda Dayele Yuwe Nangen Gurwen Sasugen Buddha Reje Belsinve China Lama Shunya
Oi Chewan
Drang
By the merit of having offered this mandala to the merit field, May I and all sentient beings be able to meet the pure wisdom teachings of the Victorious One, which contain the biography of those eminent ones who live in pure morality, have the brave attitude to follow extensively the Bodhisattva's conduct, and to practice the yogas of the 2 stages, the essence of which is the transcendental wisdom of non-dual bliss and voidness. May I and all sentient beings be able to meet this pure, complete teaching of Lama Tsongkhapa, the unification of Sutra and Tantra, right this second. Same way chanting. More Sham Ye Tro Ye Shu Ya Tsong Si Shu Nan Ka Le On Zhen Zeng Yi Ta Ton Ge So next renewing the Bodhisattva and Tantric vows. So those of you who have taken Bodhisattva vows before, please think the purpose of my life is to free all my kind mother sentient beings from suffering and lead them to enlightenment. To do this, I must receive enlightenment. Without Bodhisattva vows, this is not possible. Therefore, I'm going to take the Bodhisattva vows for the benefit of all my kind mother sentient beings. I go for refuge to the 3 jewels. I confess individually all negativities. I rejoice in the virtue of migrating beings. I hold within my mind the Buddha's enlightenment. I go for refuge until my enlightenment to the Buddha, Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. In order to fully accomplish the purpose of myself and others, I shall generate the mind of enlightenment. Having generated the mind of supreme enlightenment, I shall invite all sinning beings to be my guests. I shall undertake the pleasing supreme conduct of enlightenment. May I accomplish Buddhahood in order to benefit migrating beings. I go for refuge to the three jewels. I confess individually all negativities. I rejoice in the virtue of migrating beings. I hold within my mind the Buddha's enlightenment. I go for refuge until my enlightenment to the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly. In order to fully accomplish the purpose of myself and others, I shall generate the mind of enlightenment. Having generated the mind of supreme enlightenment, I shall invite all sinning beings to be my guests. I shall undertake the pleasing supreme conduct of enlightenment. May I accomplish Buddhahood in order to benefit migrating beings. I go for refuge to the three jewels. I confess individually all negativities. I rejoice in the virtue of migrating beings. I hold within my mind the Buddha's enlightenment. I go for refuge until my enlightenment to the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly. In order to fully accomplish the purposes of myself and others, I shall generate the mind of enlightenment. Having generated the mind of supreme enlightenment, I shall invite all beings to be my guests. I shall undertake the pleasing supreme conduct of enlightenment and accomplish Buddhahood in order to benefit migrating beings. So think strongly that you have generated or received the complete pure set of Bodhisattva vows. Those vows that have been broken are now restored, and those that were kept have been increased. So now retaking the tantric vows. So those of you who have taken them before, please think that an infinite number of my kind mother sentient beings suffering in samsara is so unbearable. I must free them from suffering and lead them to enlightenment as quickly as possible without delaying even 1 second. To do this, I must become enlightened. Without tantric vows, this is not possible. Therefore, I'm going to take the tantric vows for the benefit of all my kind mother sentient beings. All Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, please listen to me. I, Akshobhya Vajra, from now until I achieve the essence of enlightenment of Buddhahood, shall generate the sacred peerless bodhicitta, just as all Buddhas of the 3 times have ensured themselves of awakening by generating it. I pledge to uphold the vows of the Buddha lineage, to rely on the peerless triple gem, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and the 3 disciplines of observing proper behavior, gathering virtuous Dharma, and benefiting sentient beings. I pledge to uphold the Vajra, bell, and mudra of the great Vajra lineage, and to honor my teachers. I pledge to practice the 4 types of giving 6 times each day, keeping in mind the delightful commitments of the great Ratna lineage. For the great Padma lineage, I pledge to uphold individually the holy dharmas that arose from great enlightenment, those of the outer, secret, and 3 vehicles. For the great supreme karma lineage, I pledge to uphold all vows well, and to make as many offerings as possible. I shall generate the vows of peerless bodhicitta for the sake of all, and uphold all samayas without exception. I shall deliver those who are liberated, give breath to those unable to breathe, and place all beings in the state beyond sorrow. Okay, continuing with the confession of non-virtue. LC 38. Whatever non-virtuous negative actions I have done since beginningless time cause others to do, on which I have rejoiced, before those having great compassion, I confess with regret and vow never to commit them again. Though all phenomena lack the characteristic of inherent existence, we rejoice from the depth of our hearts in the dream-like bliss and joy of all superior and ordinary beings, and in every virtue that has ever arisen. So we'll pause here to meditate very strongly and extensively for some time on rejoicing in the merits of the 3 times of yourself, other beings, and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So as we have dedicated our lives to be of utmost benefit to others, and in particular to lead them to all sentient beings to the state of enlightenment, then knowing that the cause of every success, even within samsara, all the way up to and including complete enlightenment, is nothing else but virtue. So then thinking about either ourselves having generated virtue in the past, or hearing or thinking about others generating virtue, then that should make us so extremely happy. So by rejoicing in the virtues of ourselves, then our previously accumulated virtue, it increases in strength. So first we dedicate in all the virtue that we've created since beginning this time. So thinking how wonderful it is that we created these words of virtue. So you can think, repeat over and over, just mentally, how wonderful, how wonderful, how wonderful. How precious, how precious. So then we also rejoice in all the other merits of all the other ordinary beings. So you can think of all the virtue of all the other ordinary beings, that is, people who haven't yet entered the path, yet nonetheless so much virtue is being created through acts of generosity, through acts of practicing ethical discipline, meditating, making offerings, making prostrations. So all this virtue accumulated by other ordinary beings, so wonderful. It's going to become the cause for others to experience happiness all the way up to complete enlightenment. So then thinking again and again, oh, just how wonderful it is that others are accumulating virtue, that others have accumulated virtue in the past. And how wonderful it is that all sentient beings will continue to accumulate virtue until they are enlightened in the future. Now we rejoice in the three-time merit of all those who have entered the path leading to individual liberation. So all the Shravakas, then having totally seen the faults of samsara, generated perfectly the mind of renunciation, and then practice pure morality, the three higher trainings, and realize emptiness directly, and abandon all of the obscurations to liberation, all the afflicted emotions as well as their seeds, and therefore never again have to take rebirth in samsara. So how wonderful, how amazing, how wonderful. Then we rejoice in the merit of all the Pratyeka Buddhas, who accumulate merit for an extra 100 eons so they can achieve the state of nirvana in a place and a time where there's no Buddha existing in the world. And then they can inspire, they can teach without words by showing various emanations and miraculous abilities. So thank you, how wonderful, how wonderful. Then we rejoice in all the three-time merit accumulated by all the bodhisattvas, who generated the precious mind of bodhicitta, and therefore every single one of their actions is totally focused on the welfare of sentient beings, who they view more precious than themselves. Then even their small actions of giving, even one handful of food to others becomes the cause of supreme enlightenment. Then we rejoice in the three-time merit of all the Arya Bodhisattvas, who not only have the uncontrived mind of bodhicitta, but also have the direct realization of emptiness, and therefore with each ground as they traverse the bodhisattva bhumis, the bodhisattva grounds, they get more and more ability to emanate 100 and 1,000 more and more bodies, to travel to more and more Buddha fields to receive teachings, benefit sentient beings in more and more profound ways. So then how wonderful, how wonderful. Then we rejoice in all the 3-time man of all the Buddhas who have completely eliminated all the faults of the mind, even the very subtle stains of grasping to true existence, accumulated the vast collections of merit and transcendental wisdom, and therefore are able to manifest spontaneously in whatever form is beneficial for sentient beings, appropriate to their karma, appropriate to their dispositions. So now just think at the end, may I never tire or grow weary from following the footsteps of the vast activities of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And therefore may I be able to benefit all sentient beings just as they do. Okay. LC 40. Please let fall the rain of profound and extensive Dharma from 1,000, 100,000 billowing clouds of perfect wisdom and compassion, so that the jasmine garden of benefit and bliss of infinite migrators may be born up and long and increase. So visualize yourself as numberless Brahmas offering them beautiful golden Dharma wheels. And then these Dharma wheels then absorb into the Guru, who accepts our request to continue to teach us and guide us. Your Vajra body is neither subject to neither birth nor death, but is a vessel of the mighty King in unification. Please abide forever according to our wishes, not passing beyond sorrow until samsara ends. So then, offering numberless beautiful lion thrones adorned with a double dorje across the Vajra, which then absorbs into the throne of the Guru, who accepts our request not to pass away into parinirvana, but remain until the end of cyclic existence. I dedicate the mass of white virtues thus created, so I may be inseparably cared for in all my lives by perfect pure Gurus who will guide in 3 ways, so attain the unified state of Vajradhara. Okay, so I hope in your Lama Tripa text you have this making request to the Guru. Okay. Shingambu Angyo Om Bezagumi
Om Wajitsagi Sashi Om Bezarigi Om Jijarigu Yugigu Ehusu Riga Parira Lupapola Sambulino Balancho Jaminya Ludandupa Ngaya Dangaya Jen Yudana Jojo Jaminian Jaminian Gita Rinpoche Riho Paham Gishin Dojo Yeba Mama Bailodo Kolo Rinpoche Nombo Rinpoche Nombo Rinpoche Nombo Rinpoche Nombo Rinpoche Tazo Rinpoche Nemo Rinpoche Techen Boi Bumba Gyama Jawa Maluma Kama Mituma Dukama Nasama Dijama Niwata Rinpoche Julina Bhagawe Gelsen Sularami Bedrimuntum Sawama Sawame Pasashi Yudu Hawadida Dinin Sawadangi Pachepe Belen Lama Dampanam Namado Santu Bando Yishan Jempulatu Kuran Jeba Nama Shingambu Wagyo Tuje Jovedan Duje Susoji Dansa Zogarwange Namge Taran Yabe Senchen Tamjela Tutsewa Jembu Bone Chidgi
Special request for the three great purposes. I prostrate and go for refuge to the Guru and the three precious gems. Bless my mind. I'm requesting you to immediately pacify all wrong conceptions, from incorrect devotion to the Guru, up to the subtle blue view of the white, red, and dark visions that exist in my mind and the minds of all other sentient beings. I'm requesting you to immediately generate all the right realizations from Guru devotion up to enlightenment in my mind and the minds of all other sentient beings. I'm requesting you to pacify all outer and inner obstacles to actualizing the entire graduated path to enlightenment in my mind and in the minds of all other sentient beings. I prostrate and go for refuge to the Guru and the three precious gems. Please bless my mind. I'm requesting you to immediately pacify all wrong conceptions, from incorrect devotion to the Guru, up to the subtle view of the white, red, and dark visions that exist in my mind and the minds of all other sentient beings. I'm requesting you to immediately generate all the right realizations, from Guru devotion up to enlightenment in my mind and the minds of all other sentient beings. I'm requesting you to pacify all outer and inner obstacles to actualizing the entire graduated path to enlightenment in my mind and the minds of all other sentient beings. I prostrate and go for refuge to the Guru and the three angels. Please bless my mind. I'm requesting you to immediately pacify all wrong conceptions, from incorrect devotion to the Guru, up to the subtle view of the white, red, and dark visions that exist in my mind and the minds of all other sentient beings. I'm requesting you to immediately generate all the right realizations of Guru devotion up to enlightenment in my mind and the minds of all other sentient beings. I'm requesting you to pacify all outer and inner obstacles to actualizing the entire graduated path to enlightenment in my mind and in the minds of all other sentient beings. So think you're not offering just one mandala, but countless mandalas, one for every atom of the universe. Visualize as a pure land. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Gandiryatayami Sangye Chedan Soki Chonana
Jajubadu Dani Kapsuchi Naki Jinsagi Besonamgi Drula Bendir Sangye Druparsho.
Sash. What? Should we do that? Kage Jeje Meto
Charira Likshini Dekembadi Sangye Shingdu Mikde Buhagi Durgana Bajila Chubasho.
Guru Rana Mandala
Kamniryatayami
Mujo Kunju Jawanto
Chami Mesewe Chenreze Chime Gembe Wampo Jampayam Tupu Malu Jose Salenda Kanche Kibe Suken Losandra
Kyausun Dube Mama
Sangela Guzungu Begune Sovade
Rashi Michi
Jiwa Jingilo Chodan Junun Mujo Zadu Son Yuru Kiran Tapu Kilo.
I request the precious Guru, who encompasses all objects of refuge, past, present, and future. Please bless my mental continuum. I request the precious Guru, who encompasses all objects of refuge, past, present, and future. Please bless my mental continuum. I request the precious Guru, who encompasses all objects of refuge, past, present, and future. Please bless my mental continuum. 5 colored nectar beams flow forth from the Guru's holy body, entering my body and mind, and those of all sentient beings. These purify all disease, spirit harm, negative karma, and obscurations, especially all the collections of obscurations, negative karma, and degenerated samaya created in relationship to the virtuous friend, such as giving harm to the holy body, breaking the advice, disturbing the holy mind, generating non-devotional thoughts, criticizing, giving up the Guru, and so forth. From all my doors, sense organs, and pores, these are dispelled in the form of liquid smoke or black soot. They are completely purified. My body becomes a nature of light, calm, and clear. My life, fortune, merit, and all my qualities of understanding and realizations are developed fully. The blessings of the Guru's holy body, holy speech, and holy mind enter my body, speech, and mind, and those of all sentient beings. I and all sentient beings are now under the protection of the virtuous friend. So now LC 43. I'm on page 28 in my book, but LC 43, requests recalling the Guru's good qualities. So we'll do in English so we can meditate on meaning. Source of qualities, great ocean of moral discipline, treasury brimming with jewels of much hearing, master second Buddha clad in saffron, elder Vinaya older, I make request to you. You have the 10 qualities suitable for one to teach the path of those gone to bliss. Lord of the Dharma, representative of all conquerors, Mahayana virtuous friend, I make request to you. You are wise, patient, honest, without pretense or guile. The three Lord is well subdued. You have both sets of 10 qualities, no mantra and tantra, and are skilled in drawing and explaining. Foremost Vinaya holder, I make request to you. To those named by countless past Buddhas, the unruly migrators of this degenerate age who are difficult to subdue. You accurately show the good way of those gone to bliss. Compassionate refuge savior, I make request to you. When, because of the times, the sun of the conqueror sets, you enact the deeds of the conqueror. For the many migrators who lack a savior refuge, compassionate refuge savior, I make request to you. Even one of your hair pores is for us a field of merit more highly praised than all the conquerors of 3 times the 10 directions. Compassionate refuge savior, I make request to you. Adorned with the Sugata's 3 bodies and ornamental wheels, you manifest from an alluring net of skillful means in ordinary form to lead all beings. Compassionate refuge savior, I make request to you. Your aggregates, elements, sources, and limbs are in nature the Sugatas and consorts of the 5 lineages, Bodhisattvas and wrathful protectors. Supreme Guru, the nature of 3 jewels, I make request to you. Arising from the play of omniscient transcendental wisdom, you are the essence of 10 million mandala cycles, pervading the Lord of 100 Buddha families, foremost altar holder, unified primordial savior, I make request to you. unobscured, separable from the place of simultaneous joy, pervading everything in motion and at rest, the nature of all things, free from beginning or end, all good, actual, ultimate bodhicitta, I make request to you.
Lama
Okay, so the standard version doesn't have all the mantras, but anyway, it's okay. We'll go on to the Lam Rim prayer on LC 84. So just for your knowledge, so some of you might be joining us from, the US. So this month, this is for your knowledge, there's a 9th and then it skips to the 11th. You know how the Tibetan calendar sometimes does that. So we just got clarification that when that occurs, then you should do the soap offering on the 9th. And so those of you who are, still on the 9th of the Tibetan month, then maybe after you're done, you can do your soap today. No? Okay. But for now, we'll continue on with LC 84. It's on page 50 of my version of this. Okay. And we'll do the Lam Rim prayer in English again, so we can meditate on the meaning. Supreme field of merit, my perfect pure Guru, through the power of having made offerings and respectful requests to you, I seek your blessings, Savior, and the very root of happiness and goodness, that I may come under your joyful guidance. So practicing Guru devotion with the 9 attitudes. I'm requesting the kind Lord Guru, who is more extraordinary than all the Buddhas,
Please bless me to devote myself
to the glorified Lord Guru, with great respect in all my future lifetimes, by realizing that correctly devoting myself to the kind Lord Guru, who is the foundation of all good qualities, is the root of happiness and goodness, I shall devote myself to him with great respect, not forsaking him even at the cost of my life. Thinking of the importance of the qualified Guru, may I allow myself to enter under his control. May I be like an obedient son, acting exactly in accordance with the Guru's advice. Even when the Maras, evil friends, and the like try to split me from the Guru, may I be like a Vajra, inseparable forever. When the Guru gives me work, whatever the burden, may I be like the earth, carrying all. When I devote myself to the Guru, whatever suffering occurs, may I be like a mountain, immovable. Even if I have to perform all the unpleasant tasks, may I be like the servant of a king, with a mind undisturbed. May I abandon pride, holding myself lower than the Guru. May I be like a sweeper. May I be like a rope, joyfully holding the Guru's work, no matter how difficult or heavy a burden. Even when the Guru criticizes, provokes, or ignores me, may I be like a dog without anger, never responding with anger. May I be like a ferry boat, never upset at any time to come and go for the Guru. O glorious and precious Guru, please bless me to be able to practice in this way. From now on and all my future lifetimes, may I be able to devote myself to the Guru in this way. LC 85. Realizing how this body of liberties and endowments is found by ones is difficult to obtain and is quickly lost, I seek blessings to make it worthwhile and take its essence without being distracted by the meaningless affairs of this life. Aghast at the searing blaze of suffering in the lower realms, I take heartfelt refuge in the 3 precious gems and seek your blessings that I may eagerly strive to abandon all negativities and accomplish the accumulation of every virtue. Violently thoughts amidst the waves of karma and mental afflictions, plagued by the many sea monsters of 3 kinds of suffering, I seek your blessings to develop an intense longing to be liberated from this infinite and frightening ocean of existence. Having abandoned the mind that views this unbearable prison of psychic existence as a pleasure grove, I seek your blessings to uphold future trainings as a treasure of superior wealth, and thereby to uphold liberation's banner.
Having considered how all these miserable beings have been my mothers, and have raised me to kindness again and again, I seek your blessings to develop effortless compassion, like that of a loving mother for her precious child. There is no difference between myself and others. None of us wishes to even the slightest of sufferings, nor is ever content with the happiness we have. Realizing this, I seek your blessing that I may generate joy for the happiness of others. This chronic disease of cherishing myself is the cause giving rise to my unsought suffering. Preceding this, I seek your blessings to blame, begrudge, and destroy the monstrous demon of selfishness. The mind that cherishes mothers and places them in bliss is the gateway leading to infinite qualities. Seeking this, I seek your blessings to cherish these migrating beings more than my life, even should they rise up as my enemies. In brief, how beings labor only for their own ends, while the evil ones work solely for the welfare of others. With a mind understanding the distinctions between the failings of one and the advantages of the others, I seek your blessings to enable me to equalize and exchange myself with others. Cherishing myself is the doorway to all loss, while cherishing my mothers is the foundation of all qualities. Hence, I seek your blessings to enable me to equalize and exchange myself with others. Even if the environment and the beings are filled with the fruits of negativity,
and unwished for sufferings pour down like rain. I seek your blessings to tame these miserable conditions of the path, by seeing them as causes to exhaust the results of my negative karma. In short, no matter what appearances arise, be they good or bad, I seek your blessings to transform them into a path, increasing the two bodhicittas to the practice of the 5 forces, the quintessence of the entire Dharma, and thus to meditate only on mental happiness. I seek your blessings that I may relate everything I need to meditation through the skillful means possessing the 4 applications, and that I may make this life of liberties and endowments greatly meaningful through practicing the advice and pledges of thought transformation, in order to rescue all migrators from the vast seas of existence. I seek your blessings to train only in bodhicitta through love, compassion, and superior intention, conjoined with the technique of mounting, giving, and taking upon the breath. I seek your blessings that I may eagerly endeavor to put into practice the 3 Mahayana moral codes, and to restrain my mind stream with pure vows of the conqueror's children, the single path journeyed by all the victorious ones of the 3 times. LC 101. I seek your blessings to complete the perfection of generosity through the guideline teaching of increasing the mind that gives without attachment, namely transforming my body, wealth, and collection of virtues of 3 times into the objects desired by each and every sentient being. I seek your blessings to complete the perfection of moral discipline, not transgressing the bounds of rational bodhisattva and tantric vows, even at the loss of my life, accumulating virtuous dharmas and accomplishing the purpose of sentient beings. Should even all the beings of the 3 realms without exception become angry at me, humiliate, criticize, threaten, or even kill me, I seek your blessings not to be agitated, but to complete the perfection of patience that works for their immediate benefit in response to their harm. Even if I must remain for an ocean of eons in the fiery hells of the Vichy, for the sake of even one sentient being, I seek your blessings to complete the perfection of enthusiasm that out of compassion entirely strives for supreme enlightenment. Having abandoned the faults of sinking, agitation, and mental wandering, I seek your blessing to complete the perfection of mental stabilization through the samadhi of single-pointed placement upon the nature of reality of all phenomena, their lack of true existence. I seek your blessing to complete the perfection of wisdom through the space-like yoga of single-minded placement upon ultimate truth, conjoined with the pliancy and great bliss induced by discriminating wisdom analyzing suchness. I seek your blessing to perfect the samadhi on illusion by realizing how all phenomena, like true existence, will still appear, like an illusion, a dream, or a moon's image on the still lake. Samsara and nirvana, like given matter and their existence, and cause and effect of dependent arising are infallible. I seek your blessings to discern the meaning of homogeneous thought, that these are mutually complementary and not contradictory. Then, crossing the depths of the ocean of Tantra, through the kindness of my captain Vajradhara, I seek your blessings that I may hold my vows and pledges, the root of cities dearer than my life. I seek your blessings that whatever appears may arise as the deity, having cleansed all stains of ordinary appearance and grasping, with the first stage yoga transforming birth, death, and bardo into the 3 bodies of a conqueror. I seek your blessings to actualize in this life, while path uniting, clear light and illusory body, which arises from placing your feet, my Savior, at the 8 petals of my heart, at the very center of my essential channel. If my time of death comes before I have completed the points of the path, I seek your blessings that I may be led to a pure land, through the instruction of correctly applying the 5 forces, or the Guru's transference, or forceful means to enlightenment. In short, I seek your blessings, my Savior, to be guided by you from birth inseparably throughout all my lives, and thus to become your chief disciple, holding every secret of your body, speech, and mind. Savior, please grant that all be auspicious for me, to be among the first disciple of disciples, wherever you manifest Buddhahood, so that all my general and ultimate wishes, without exception, may be effortlessly and strenuously fulfilled. Deta soa tabe lama tsongkhapa keshin chi
Shab Zero Shab Tempa Shu Su Su.
So dedication of merits we'll do in English. LC 116. Whatever white virtues were thus created, we dedicate as causes, enabling us to uphold the holy Dharma of scripture and insights, and to fulfill without exception the prayers and deeds of all the Tathagatas and Bodhisattvas of 3 times. By the force of this merit, may we never be parted in all our lives from Maha's 4 spheres, and may we reach the end of our journey along the paths of renunciation, bodhicitta, pure view, and the 2 stages. Through the quality of whatever white virtues there are in samsara and nirvana, may all be auspicious for us to be free here and now from all misfortune and loss, and thus to enjoy glorious and perfect celestial treasure, temporal and ultimate virtue and goodness. May all be auspicious for the Buddha's teachings to remain long. Dear ascendants of Dharma, omniscient Tsongkhapa, being filled with hosts of renunciates, yogis, and yoginis, striving single-mindedly to master the 3 pure trainings, having received your blessing, Tsongkhapa, who from the time of youth made request to the auspiciousness of Losang Vajradhara, who has spontaneously accomplished the purpose of others. May all our desired endowments swell like a lake in the summer rains. May we have an unbroken continuity of rebirths with freedom in fullest families. May we pass our days and nights with the holy Dharma of Losang Rakpa, and may we delight in the glories of perfection. By the collection of whatever virtues I and others have done, and shall do from now until enlightenment. May we all be auspicious, holy, perfect, pure one. Your body of form, according to your name and this plan, in beautiful life. Gyawadi Nyududa Lama
Sangye Drugyune Drowa Chikya Malupa De Salakrupa Sho
Janju Samcho
Rinpoche Make Hana Kikyu Chi Gewa Yampa Mepa Yom Kone Kondu Pelpa Sho
Jamba Pava
Jita Kempa Dan Kudu Sampo De Ande Shinde Deta Kungi Jesu Dano Chu Gewa Dita Tamche Raptu Mo Nisu Shepe Gewa Tamche Ki Moa Kama Chudu Mapade Lagi Kewe Sawadi Kun Kang Sample Chuchi Raptu Mo Wagi.
Due to the merits accumulated during 3 times by myself, all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas which are empty from their own side, may the I
was empty from its own side, achieve the state of enlightenment which is empty from its own side, and lead all sentient beings who are empty from their own side to that state as quickly as possible by myself alone. Due to the merits of 3 times created by myself and others, by the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, may I and my family members and all the students and benefactors of the organization and all sentient beings be able to meet perfectly qualified mind and virtuous friends in all our future lives. From our side, may we always see them as enlightened, and always perform those actions most pleasing to their holy minds, and may we always fulfill their holy wishes immediately.
Jiten Kandir Pendemaluva Gale Jume Sangye Yijilor Gadre Sume Tenzin Yazonam Sovai Levzo Tuje Lundrosho Atu Sup Shajin Jangan Yawe Tenzin Yom Belwe Kuzodo Boise Shozun Kuwele Okay, thank you very much. So, as it is said that actually during a retreat, then what happens between the sessions is more important than what happens in the sessions themselves. So here, when we think of retreat, it's, some. So to create distance or a boundary between our minds and, first of all, the 8 worldly concerns. So during the break time, make a strong, commitment, strong aspiration, not to let our minds come under the influence of the 8 worldly concerns, which is the very opening of the door to Dharma. And then also to think that we're not going to let ourselves come under the influence of the grasping to true existence, nor come under the influence of the self-cherishing thought. So then some of you, whatever you're doing, maybe some of you are working today, but try to keep our minds in virtue as much as we can. And then our next session is at 10 o'clock Indian Standard Time, which is 2 hours and 15 minutes from now. Okay, so hopefully by then we'll have the next session. We'll be doing the Long-life Lama Tsongkhapa practice. It was uploaded to archive.org several hours ago, but I think it takes some time for the server to update. Okay. So anyway, chai.
Read Rinpoche's too.
Yes. So maybe some of you in your various places, you have chai, coffee, water, anything. Okay, so we can do a global chai offering. Okay. Why not? Okay. So Omahum, Omahum, Omahum. So this here is a tea offering that was composed by Lama Zopa Rinpoche. And so I haven't seen it before this time. But anyway, I'll read it out and hopefully we can get it distributed around the world. Global tea offering means a global prayer, okay? So please think in this way. Merely hearing your name guides from the dangers of bad migratory beings. If the request is done, it grants all realizations. If the practice is done according to the advice, it makes possible to achieve the 3 kayas. To the Guru, possessor of the Mighty One, I make offering. To the numberless transmigratory beings, stubbornly ignorant and so difficult to subdue, what leads me and sending beings to the great bliss by emitting numberless manifestations is the compassionate action of the victorious ones, because that manifested in the incomparable ordinary aspect of the Guru. The 3-time collections of goodness and happiness came from the Guru, who is the embodiment of all objects of refuge, even every day, hour, minute, and second, liberating me from the lower realms and from samsara and nirvana. Even if I achieve enlightenment, I cannot
repay this kindness.
Yeah. To you, Lama, who shows the unmistaken path, I make offering. Mix my mind into one taste with the simultaneously born great bliss, Dharmakaya, and may the state of the great sky enjoyment be achieved. Om Ahum, Om Ahum, Om Ahum. Okay, so enjoy your tea. We'll go offline.